Did you think getting promoted would be easy? I did, but after years of being passed over, I realize it's way harder than it looks. I finally landed a director role, but geez, I made a lot of mistakes that I wish I knew when I first started. Like the time I tried to protect my employees and got passed over because of it. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the 15 brutal mistakes I wish I had stopped making sooner so that you can save years of time and get promoted faster than I ever could. Mistake number 15. Have you ever quietly wondered if you're even ready for a promotion? The strange part is, even asking yourself that question can stall your career for years. It's like elephants at the circus. When they're babies, trainers tie a rope around their leg, and at that age, they're too weak to break free, so they eventually just stop trying. But the crazy part is, even when the elephant grows strong enough to snap that rope in an instant, it never does because the limitation is all in its mind. That's actually kind of messed up and sad when you think about it, but my point is that's exactly how managers hold themselves back from getting promoted. You might already be doing director level work, but if you keep believing you're not ready, you'll stay tied to the same spot. So mistake number 15 is just not believing in yourself, because if you don't, why should anyone else? Build confidence by tracking your wins daily and write down your proof that you're already operating like a director. It also doesn't hurt to hang around like-minded people who have belief in you. Alex Hormozy once said, "Find the person that believes in you more than you do and never let them go." Mistake number 14. Do you believe that if you just keep your head down and work hard, leadership will eventually notice? I did, and it's one of the main reasons why I got passed over multiple times. To explain what I mean, imagine you're selling a house. You can spend months remodeling, putting in new floors, fresh paint, and making the kitchen perfect. But if you never list it, and you never put a for sale sign in the yard, no one even knows it's available. Promotions work kind of the same way. It doesn't matter how much you improve your skills or your results, if you don't signal that you're ready, leadership just assumes that you're not on the market. So mistake number 14 is being afraid to ask for the promotion, because if you don't say it, they'll assume you don't want it. So this week, schedule a career conversation with the person that is responsible for your promotion and ask them, "I would like to be considered for the next director role. What would it take to get there?" And that's how you stop being overlooked and start being undeniable when the next role opens up. Mistake number 13. I used to think promotions came from impressing the people above me. Turns out it's the exact opposite. Here's how it really works. When companies are deciding on a promotion, they don't just ask your boss. They quietly reach out to the departments you work with, like HR and payroll and operations, to see how you interact with them. Leaders already know that you're on your best behavior with executives. The real test is how you treat people that you don't have to impress. So mistake number 13 is only networking upwards, because respect across matters just as much as respect up. So this week, champion a peer in a meeting. Highlight one of their wins, not just your own. Really focus on building those relationships and those connections within your company so that when your time comes, they sing your praises. And that's how you stop being seen as just a peer and start being seen as a leader everyone wants to follow. Mistake number 12. If everyone likes you at work, that's not a good sign. I know this because I fell into this trap. I thought if I kept everyone happy, leadership would see me as a strong leader, but it turns out it did the opposite. Think of it like this. Imagine a doctor who just wants to be liked by every patient. So instead of having tough conversations, he says, "You're looking great. I love the outfit," even when the scan shows something serious. That's a pretty useless doctor, right? Leadership works the same way. If you only focus on being liked, no one trusts you when it matters. Respect comes from honesty, even when it's hard to hear. So mistake number 12 is trying to be liked more than you're respected, because likability does open doors, but respect is going to keep them open. So this week, hold one tough but fair conversation. Lead with clarity, not just kindness. The good news, earning respect doesn't mean changing everything. It just starts with that one honest conversation. And I can hear you now in the comments saying that, "Oh, he's trying to be a jerk to employee." No. Be nice to them, just be honest. Mistake number 11. A few years ago, when I was hiring for a new position, I passed over candidates who were way more skilled than me. Why? Because I was afraid I couldn't manage them. Honestly, I was just afraid they would make me look like an imposter because they were way more competent than I was. But the problem was, just like a sports team, you don't draft players because they're easy to coach. You draft them because they can win games. A coach who fills the roster with safe picks doesn't make the playoffs. Leaders who hire that way don't get promoted either. So mistake number 11 is hiring for control instead of competence. So in your next interview, test them for independence and ask them, tell me about the last time you disagreed with your boss. How did you handle it? You want people who can think for themselves, not just follow. And that's how you can prove that you can build a team that wins, not one that's just easy to manage. Mistake number 10. Have you ever had a conflict at work between two team members and you avoided it because you thought it would just kind of work itself out? Well, here's the problem. Every conflict you avoid doesn't just hurt your team. It holds you back from getting promoted. Think of it like ignoring a leak in your house. If you were to see water dripping from the ceiling and you ignore it, it doesn't go away. It spreads, it weakens the walls, and it costs you way more later. Your team, it's the same way. Small conflicts you avoid don't just disappear, they fester, and by the time you deal with them, it's 10 times worse. So mistake number 10 is avoiding conflict because leaders who don't face problem early end up looking weak. So next time something feels off, don't wait. Address it head on, go to that employee and say, hey, can we talk? Something doesn't feel right. And I'd rather talk to you about it now than let it build. And that's how you earn trust and respect instead of being someone who hides from tough calls. Mistake number 9. Did you think protecting employees makes you a good boss? I did, and it cost me a second shot at a promotion. In that interview, they asked me what needs improvement within the company, and I made a passionate case for fixing the manager's pay plans. It was an all or nothing pay plan. It was kind of complex, and it was just really stressful, and it was causing managers to leave. I thought for sure they'd see keeping managers as valuable, but here was the mistake. I assumed they'd connect the dots on their own. I never spelled out how losing managers was hurting retention, performance, and ultimately the business. And it stung even more when they later told me that was exactly why they chose someone else. Now, in hindsight, that company I worked for was terrible and they didn't care about their employees, so, bullet dodge there. But mistake number 9 isn't caring about your team. That's actually a good thing. It's caring without being strategic. If you protect your team but can't frame it as a company-friendly solution, executives won't see you as promotable. The next time you raise an issue, you need to do it like this. Hey, this is what my team needs, and here's how it's going to help the business. That way, you're still protecting your people, but you're doing it in a way that leadership actually rewards. And that's how you're seen as a future exec, someone who protects the team and the company. Mistake number 8. Have you ever explained something perfectly just to watch your team execute it completely wrong? Well, here's the trap. If your clarity disappears the second you stop talking, leadership won't see you as ready to scale. A simple way to explain this is imagine if you bought a house on a handshake deal with no paperwork. How comfortable would you feel handing over $80,000 to a complete stranger? As someone who just bought a condo, I can tell you that's crazy talk. So if we all know that's a bad idea, why do we trust our promotion on the work of our team without any kind of paper trail in place? So mistake number 8 is relying only on spoken words instead of using writing to scale your leadership and protect yourself. So after your next team meeting, send a quick recap of all action items written exactly the way you expect them done. And the good news is this isn't going to be extra work because you're going to save a ton of time not having to rework things when they come back wrong. And it's going to make you look like someone that can lead at the next level. Mistake number 7. Have you ever noticed that some leaders are tough to listen to while others make you want to charge up a hill you're so inspired? There's one small mistake inspiring leaders avoid, and if you fix it, it'll make a massive difference in how you motivate your team. A simple way to think of this is why we loved playing video games as kids. Personally, I was hooked on the Halo series. The game wasn't addictive because of what you were doing. Honestly, clearing out endless rooms of aliens got a little repetitive. It was addicting because of why you were doing it. You were Master Chief, Spartan 117, the last hope for humanity, the one soldier standing between the Covenant and the Earth being annihilated. The bigger purpose is what kept me inspired, locked in, and feeling like I was a part of something bigger. Yeah, I know, I'm a nerd. Anyways, my point is, mistake number 7 is starting with the what instead of the why. So the next time you delegate, just don't explain the what and the how. You want to start with, here's why this matters. And here's the key, make sure it's specific to that person. For one teammate, it may be how to grow their skills, and for another, it might be how it helps the customer. And that's how you stop being seen as someone who hands out tasks and start being seen as a leader who inspires action. Mistake number 6, Ever put in weeks of effort only to feel like leadership didn't even notice? Well, here's the thing. Executives, they don't want hard work. And not knowing this mistake is what keeps most managers stuck in their career. A great example of this is in the fitness clubs I've run over the years. We'd never just tell our personal training clients, you're doing a good job or you're working hard. That doesn't stick. Instead, we'd run what's called an in-body scan and we'd show them, hey, you gained 3 pounds of muscle and lost 2 pounds of fat since last month. Amazing job. This difference was night and day. Clients who saw the numbers were instantly more bought in, more motivated, and more willing to follow their trainer's lead. Those numbers made it real. So mistake number 6 is avoiding numbers because executives don't trust feelings. They trust metrics. So I want you to take one win from this week and attach a number to it. Did you save hours? Did you improve response time? Did you increase output? Put it to measurable terms. And the good news is you don't need to be a data scientist to do this well. You just have to start putting those simple numbers to your wins and leadership will instantly take you more seriously. Mistake number 5. Have you ever been slammed all day at work just to feel like you didn't actually get anything done? Well, here's the trap. Being busy makes you feel productive, but it's not going to get you promoted. A good example of this is Warren Buffett. He didn't get rich by making 1,000 little trades every day. Most of Berkshire Hathaway's returns came from just a handful of big investments, like Coca-Cola, Apple, and American Express. A few smart moves that created the majority of their results. And it's the same at work. A handful of your tasks drive most of your impact. But if you spend your time spinning your wheels on everything else, leadership won't see progress. They'll just see motion. Mistake number 5 is confusing motion with progress and prioritizing busyness over real business outcomes. So at the start of each week, I want you to pick 1 or 2 things. At the start of each week, pick 1 or 2 things that will make the biggest difference. Focus on those first. And when you finish, share them with your boss so that they see the impact that you're making. And that's how you shift from being seen as busy to being seen as high impact. Mistake number 4. Why does it seem like some days your team just can't get anything done without first asking you a million questions? Being the center of every decision might make you feel important, but it makes leadership see you as the choke point. And that's exactly why so many managers stall out. For this to make sense, I want you to imagine you were to go to McDonald's and you watch the manager try to do everything themselves, running the cash register, flipping burgers, dropping fries, bagging the meals. Meanwhile, there's a full crew standing around ready to help, but they can't move because the manager won't let go. And from the outside, it looks busy, but the line's growing, the orders are slow, and customers get frustrated. And that's exactly what happens when every decision at work flows through you. So mistake number 4 is being the bottleneck and approving everything yourself instead of scaling decisions through others. This week, I want you to pick 1 decision that you would normally keep and delegate it fully. Don't jump back in, don't override it, just let your team own it from start to finish. Because that's how you stop being seen as the manager who slows things down and start being seen as a leader who keeps everything running even when they're not around. Mistake number 3. Have you ever handed off a project only to take it back later because it wasn't done the way you wanted it to? Well, here's the trap. If delegation just means rework, leadership won't see you as scalable. They'll see you as the person who has to be involved for a team to do a good job. A good example of this is, actually, McDonald's. I swear I don't even add McDonald's that much. They're just really good examples. But when McDonald's first started up, there was just the McDonald's brother running one restaurant, and it worked fine, but only because they were in the kitchen. The food, the service, the quality all depended on them. Ray Kroc didn't scale McDonald's by making better burgers. He scaled it by building systems, processes, manuals, and playbooks so anyone, anywhere could deliver the same results. And that's what made McDonald's a global empire. Real leaders do the same thing. So mistake number 3 is failing to build repeatable systems that can be used by anyone regardless of skill. This week, I want you to pick 1 repeated task and turn it into a checklist or a playbook. Hand it to your team and let them run it without you. That's how you stop being the secret sauce and start building the systems that outlive you even when you get promoted. Mistake number 2. Do you ever feel like as a leader you need to be the smartest person in the room? For years, I thought leadership meant having the best ideas and solving every problem. I wanted to be the person with all the answers, and that ego blinded me. I passed up a lot of great ideas that my team brought forward. Ideas that could have delivered results faster and probably got me promoted sooner. So instead of developing other problem solvers, I was just proving how good I was at solving problems. The turning point came when I realized leadership isn't about being the smartest, it's about making everyone around you smarter. So mistake number 2 is thinking your job is to be the expert instead of the leader. The next time your team brings you an idea, stop trying to top it. Ask follow-up questions, dig a little deeper, and really listen to what they're saying. Look for ways to shape their ideas, not replace it with yours. And that's how you stop being seen as the boss with all the answers and start being seen as the leader who brings out the best answers. Mistake number 1. Have you ever wondered why the loudest person in the room keeps getting noticed while you're the one actually getting results? Well, here's the truth. Invisibility kills careers. I learned this the hard way. I was the go-to guy for my peers. I was dependable, easy to work with, and Aaron, on the other hand, was abrasive, and most managers didn't even like him. But in every meeting, he made sure leadership knew his wins. I kept my head down thinking my work would speak for itself, but when promotion time came around, Aaron got tapped and I didn't. And that's when it hit me. Results don't speak unless you give them a voice. So mistake number 1 is assuming good work speaks for itself. It doesn't. Visibility is what creates those opportunities. So starting this month, send a simple recap to your boss and the person above him. 1 page, once a month. Highlight your team's wins, the impact, and why it mattered to the business. Make it clear and easy to skim. That's how you stop being overlooked and start being undeniable when promotion time comes around. But even if you avoid all 15 of these mistakes, you might still get passed over if you make a different mistake. And that's when you speak to your boss. So go watch this video next where I show you how speaking to your boss is holding you back and what to do instead to lock in your next promotion.